about the icon in the top right?
This one?
Yeah.
Let's just swap. Oh, there it is. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
And then you can just, or you could minimize this totally. Yeah. There we go.
How are you guys doing today?
Good. Excited.
Yeah. Yes, very excited. How was your weekend?
It's pretty good. Yeah.
Awesome. We are so thrilled to be listening. I'm very excited to hear about your project. Thank you.
Thank you. We're excited as well. My name is Pamela de la Cerda. I'm a senior here. My name is Mr. Rodriguez. I'm a sophomore. We're partners.
Fantastic. My name is Taylor Foodie. I work at the Annette Strauss Institute. I run the New Politics Forum. And then we've got, I don't know if you're seeing us anymore, but then we've also got a few other people in the room.
I'm Meredith Grauer. I'm the graduate research assistant for Speak Up, Speak Out, and I'm getting my master's in social work right now at UT.
Hi, my name is Tessa Tigercross. I'm the program assistant here for Speak Up, Speak Out. I've spoken to your teacher, Mr. Cunningham, quite often. And I will be giving you your times for 5 minutes, 2 minutes, and 1 minute remaining. And we're really excited to have you. Do you want to get started?
Yeah.
They're Del Valley Legal Cardinals, and it's Team 10.
Before we start, last couple of years we've kind of understood some changes. I don't know if we understood this year's changes correctly, but we just went down to having everything on a presentation instead of having separate speeches. Is that still okay or no? And then have question and answers during the presentation? We have our problem, we have our solution, and everything in our presentation.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
So the full presentation together with both speeches are in the same.
Yeah, okay, that's fine.
Yeah,
That's
great. And then we'll just do question and answer after they finish.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Building a world, leading the program one classroom at a time. The problem here is for the past 7 years, Del Valley has been reaching out to the world, becoming the world leader in legal education, and now with partner schools in over 60 different countries. We'll participate in moot courts and mock trials with schools all over, including Australia, Mexico, Canada, Peru, Virgin Islands, Russia, Ukraine, Taiwan, Uzbekistan, South Korea, Belgium, France, Brazil, Croatia, South Africa, and that's just the beginning. This is with Findon High School and their trial courtroom. And this is from one of the videos from one of the past trial experiences we've had. Wait. It's not a video? Is it a video? This is Clark Winter, a Thomas YMCA International mock trials in 2009. And this is in South Australia in 2010, where there was a mock trial being conducted. This is in Taiwan, a YMCA International mock trial in the year of 2010. This is on Salem witchcraft trials in 2010. And this is mock trials which I ran in 2011. This is with South Australia in 2012 conducting a mock trial. As well with Australia in a moot court ICC in 2012. This is a mock court with the Czech Republic in 2012. A mock trial with Taiwan in 2013. A South Australian International YMCA mock trial, and this is in 2013. Here we have our South Australian mock trial in 2013 as well. Right here.
Excuse me.
Right here, do I play this?
Yeah.
Here's a video from a South Australian mock trial in 2013. Do you have any questions?
I did have a question. Why did you guys choose, why did you choose this? And what do you think is the problem that you're trying to address here?
Well, I just love what we do here. Not only do we have an opportunity to share ideas with different people from different places, but it's just so expansive, and we get to deal with completely different countries, and it's a great opportunity, not only hearing their arguments, but theirs as well.
And also, I don't know if you saw the slideshow that showed the school in Australia who we do mock trials with. They've told us that the experience to have a courtroom inside their classroom is amazing, because it really gives them a sense of reality. And when it comes to actually doing the cases, it improves their confidence when they're actually inside of a courtroom in competition. So it kind of gives us the ability to have an in-competition kind of experience while we're in the classroom. So we're trying to not only boost our confidence, but also try and be more prepared in competition. So I think our problem here, as going with my co-counsel here, is that we want to improve our not only our speaking abilities, but also in competition our
Performance,
yeah.
and just essentially.
Cool, that's great. And so what do you think your improved speaking abilities will help you do in the future? And in addition, what do you think is important about the cultural exchange, more so than just being able to do it with a school next door?
Well, personally, as I'm going into law in the future, I think this is a great starting point with my coach. We're able to work on my nonverbals and just communicating with other people. And that goes as well with, as you said, with the whole cultural diffusion thing. You're able to just learn new ideas from people. They help you grow and become better, not only within that argument, but speaking and debating as a whole.
Yeah, great.
Well, like for example, there's also, it gives people a lot of huge opportunities when it comes to the language barrier sometimes. Since we do have mock trials with countries, for example, Peru and Mexico, it also allows them to have the opportunity to also practice their language. And not only that, but it also helps us improve if we were to go into international law.
Great. And so why do you think that this is important for your school in Del Valle?
I feel like with our team as well, we could use a lot of developmental skills, and that is why we're bringing the courtroom within our classroom to help boost, like not only, as my co-counsel has stated, confidence, but as well as our performance levels, and be able to do more of these moot courts with other countries, and just overall better the experience for other students.
Yeah.
It also brings, I was just trying to say that it also brings more opportunities. Like for example, when it goes to like local competition here, sure, it's interesting to have local competition, but it doesn't happen as often. And by having a classroom, a courtroom within our classroom, we're able to practice a lot more, so that our performance levels are high when it comes to real competition.
I'm curious to hear about the research that you did to come up with this solution and really get to what the problem was.
Well, when we, like I mentioned before, when we were talking to Clinton High School in Australia, they have implemented and built an actual courtroom within their classroom, and they have said that the results have been amazing. They've been able to perform better, but they also feel more confident, and they've been able to learn a lot more with having a classroom, when having a courtroom in the classroom. when it comes to procedures, the rules, and what to do and what not to do in a case.
And in this case, we'd be bringing in a real life simulation for the students and be able to really train them towards what we have in mind for our future and just really get the full experience, not just as students that are doing this, let's say, in front of a computer, but like in an actual courtroom where you're able to address each other as you would in a real legal system.
Great. And go ahead. How did you guys first get in contact with the school in Australia?
Well, sorry. We have a web page on Facebook in which we are in contact with several teachers and students, as we mentioned in our presentation, and we have been able to set up meetings through video conference in which we prepare for a case that we are given, and we work on it for a few weeks. And once we are ready, we set the date for the actual trial, and that's when through video conference, we start our trials as we showed in the videos. And like, for example, we have one next week.
We have, Wednesday this week, actually, we're conducting a mock trial.
Fantastic.
So I guess my question is, did you start doing something new recently to address this problem, or is this like an ongoing mock trial team that you're talking about?
Well, we've tried to make our group be a little bit more involved by asking to help build the classroom here. Help build the courtroom within the classroom and making sure that everyone participates. We've been trying to get everyone involved in having a part. Like, for example, next Wednesday, as we mentioned, we're focusing a lot on the characters and try to set up the classroom in a way where it looks like a courtroom to apply more to the simulation.
Okay, so my understanding is that the mock trials have been in existence before, but you're trying to increase the engagement of students within your school and around.
Right, in order to
world,
have
basically.
active participation.
So when you implemented courtroom in the classroom, or trying to get a courtroom look in the classroom, were you like reaching out to principals or someone to give you the props for that, or how did you put this together?
We talked to the principal and the board of administration and try to talk to them into helping us by funding us and helping us improve our program, and they agreed with it. They said that that's great. Also, what helped a lot was that a lot of students feel kind of more into the idea of being in an actual courtroom, because being in the classroom is one thing, but having a courtroom within the classroom is not only more fun and interactive, but it also brings a lot of excitement. And when it comes to participation, it really should impact.
Not only within the participation of students, we have the community reaching out with the parents, and as she mentioned, the school board and principals as well. It's just it's a Valley community thing.
And I think that the best part was that usually competition costs money when it comes to going into tournaments and stuff. And when students see that we can have the same kind of practice within our classroom, a lot of more students are into the idea, seeing that it's
free. When some people have to pay $18,000, whereas we are able to supply this free and help our students out with the idea now of a courtroom as well.
Great.
Mm-hmm. Great, thank you. So I'm not sure if you wanted to continue with your slides. You have 5 minutes remaining.
Oh,
No.
we don't want to take much of your time, so I guess we'll go on to our next presentation. Sure.
Did we lose them?
We might have lost them.
No, there's two participants. Oh, that just, they closed out the.
Yeah, seriously.
Ooh, my. That's not good.
Wait, can you mute that?
Screen.
Okay, hi, we're back.
Hi.
So this is this project. I was the one that I personally had more experience with. I was into and so when it comes to
Team 8, the big section, I believe. Yeah.
no, no. So with this project, sorry, it is recording. So when it comes to our project our problem was how to get schools from all over the world to debate a topic using the big question debate format. It's a new kind of a tournament that we recently entered to try and raise more money for our school and our program. That was really more the problem.
I'm sorry. I don't want to interrupt you. We're just trying to make sure we have this straight. This is a different team presentation, or is this part of your same presentation?
Oh no, this is a different presentation. Sorry.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Sorry, I should have made that a little bit more clear.
But is this the same team that we just spoke to?
No, not necessarily.
No.
We have other people that participated in this program.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
We just want to make sure. Sorry, we couldn't see the transition, so we wanted to make sure that we're A-okay.
Yeah, here they are. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves?
I'm Ashley Vasquez. I'm a freshman here.
I'm Cameron Edwards, and I'm a freshman here.
So, as I was mentioning before, so our approach to this problem was to try and get in contact with different schools and try to argue the problem in order to help us raise more money for our competitions. And and the resolution for the issue was that science leaves no room for free will. So we asked around, and this is Sisler in Canada, Sisler High School. We participated in a debate recently, about maybe 2 weeks ago. And this is also Iran, in which we went over the same issue. And this is me. And the thing with science was that we had to define science. And I think the most interesting thing about this experience was that not only with like my colleagues here, when we were asked that question, it was kind of like a surprise. And we were like, wait, when it comes to realizing whether it's science or free will, most people would say, hey, well, free will, totally. I mean,
Yeah, naturally that would be the number one assumption.
And then as we went more into getting prepared for the debates and getting participated by working in our teams, we found out that, well, by defining science and looking more into the science part of the argument, we can see that it may not always be what we think it is. We found science that is considered a human effort to understand or to better understand the history of the natural world and how the natural world works. That's basically the purpose of science. It is done through observation of a natural phenomena or through experimentation that tries to stimulate natural processes under controlled conditions. And really, science is basically what makes us up in a way. I think that was the way that we were responding to the main issue. As to free will, I think in our arguments, we described it as kind of like smoke and mirrors, where it's simply just an illusion that we make. However, the decisions come directly from science. And that was something interesting, especially from the perspective of other students and how they argue. This is Canada again. This was in between the round and when we argued against Pakistan. And we indeed came to the resolution that science indeed leaves no room for free will, because without science, there would be no free will. So how do we know? We went to, we talked to we have a psychology professor here who gave us a little bit more insight on how it works and how is that we came to that conclusion and how can we come to that conclusion. And it really is that through research and various studies, it has been proven that the brain is just a bunch of nerve cells that fire as a direct result. And it gives us chemical and electrical impulses that end up influencing what we do, what we choose, and the decisions we make that not only influence our person, but also our behavior. And this was just a little diagram on how it was explained. So, yeah, those are. Do you have any questions regarding the presentation?
Sure. Can you go back to the very first slide?
The very first slide, yeah.
Okay. And then the second one.
Oh, sorry.
Schools all over the world. Can you tell me a little bit about the big questions format? Is this so actually, as you were talking in your debate, you were prefacing that you were asking what was the question again? It was, what is the difference between science and free will?
Oh, so
is that the big question?
Yeah, it's a topic that was given by the I guess the tournament, really. That was
cool. Okay.
That we were supposed to resolve, and it was that science leaves no room for free will. It was something that we had to discuss. We did not choose the side. It actually depended on our opponents, and most people actually went with no, free will has its own place. And what was really interesting was that when we were discussing it, we found that it can't, because science really is what gives us will.
That's awesome. And so this was already a pre-existing program, the Big Questions debate format tournament. Okay, fantastic.
This is the first year that we join it, so we're trying to expand our tournaments, trying to get more opportunities to participate and to practice. And again, with our teams, we're trying to work together to participate and try to bring more trophies. Like, for example, this is the trophy for winning the debates as we go by. And by interacting with other schools, depending on whether we win or lose, we have had our losses, but we've also had our victories.
That's fantastic. Congrats about the losses, because that's good room for improvement, and it teaches you what you need to work on. And also congrats on the wins. That's very exciting.
Right. Yeah. And what we try to do is that whenever we see a different point of view, we try to analyze it and say, whoa, that's right. We should probably see what can we counter or what can we do better in order to surpass that kind of argument.
So in the future, so I'm guessing you've joined the tournament, and in the future, if you're hoping to increase engagement within your school in regards to these big question debates, what will you do in the future to ensure that more students will participate? You are enhancing, the space for. You're bringing about an inquisitive space so students can come and freely speak about what they feel and talking about these big issues. What are the next steps?
So what we found that worked really well this year is that, so we entered the competition and then we kind of brought the question into a lesson to see how much uproar it would bring, how much different thoughts it would bring, how like interested the students would be. And we found that a lot of students were like really interested in answering that question. It was an issue that really came, it became a back and forth where someone was on this end of the room and the other people were on that end of the room. And so we started building teams, and that we found created a lot of participation from our colleagues. So I think that not only maybe bringing the tournaments into actual lessons in our curriculum, but also maybe advertising in front of parents, because parents also found it to be a neat deal that they could interact while they were in class, not only after school. And I think that's what brought a lot of participation from our crew.
Great.
Not only was it with the parents and within the students, but also expanding it, not only with different countries, but as well to Spanish speakers. Some of them aren't able to do it so strongly in English, but we have extended that opportunity. And in return, there's been a lot of interest shown, and especially knowing that there's different opportunities to meet people from all over.
Right, and this is the first year again that we joined the Big Question organization in their tournament. And we have found that on Facebook, since there's, like my co-counsel said, we're expanding it onto the Spanish language, we have a lot more connections and more people to practice with in the rounds.
Great.
What do you feel the impact of this will be within your community?
Well, really, I feel like what was great this year was that since we brought in the lesson, a lot of people that are often shy and that feel like they might not be able to debate, or that they feel like they're not good at it, they found that simply by saying their point of view, they're already giving an argument. And I think that was great because it really gave them a boost in confidence. And they were like, hey, you know, I have my thoughts on this, and I feel like this is right, you know. And it's like it really gave a lot of student involvement this year with the Big Question organization.
Thank you.
Thank you. I guess we'll go on to our.
Actually, could I ask you a question really fast? Your solution is to get more involvement, and then your action plan would be through the Facebook page. Is that what you're saying? I just want to clarify.
Oh, well, our solution, I think, for our school would be to put more arguments into the curriculum in order to increase active participation by our colleagues and our classmates. As I mentioned before, it's a kind of like a bonus to have a lot of more people on Facebook try and help us practice. But I think that our focus really is on our classmates, and to see such excitement in our classmates when it comes to questions like these.
Okay, thank you. That's great.
Thank you.
Muted here.
Okay, so Project Halloween, is this it? Team 6. Yeah.
My name's Amy Jaimes. I'm a sophomore, and this is Halloween in America. The problem is how to share a cultural event with another country, then have that country do the event. The solution was to teach the event, to have the country do the event. The people that did it were South Korea and Ukraine. A little bit about Christianity and Halloween. Christianity was introduced in England and Ireland in 280. And it was All Hallows Eve, the celebration of the dead, Eastern Church before Lent on Sunday, the celebration. They celebrated dead relatives, and the next Sunday, dead saint. The history of Halloween is when it's Halloween, it is believed that ghosts come back to the earth world. People thought that they would encounter ghosts if they left their homes. To avoid being recognized by these ghosts, people would wear masks when they left their homes after dark so that the ghosts would mistake them for fellow spirits. So Halloween works by people dressing up in costumes, going to different neighborhoods to get candy, and every costume is different in their own way. You can choose to give candy or go trick-or-treating. The different Halloween activities are, you can do a haunted house, you can either go trick-or-treating, have a party, and carve pumpkins. For the haunted house, people like to go and make the haunted house their own, and like the most popular one is the House of Torment. Trick-or-treating is when people go and they knock on people's doors and they ask for candy and people give it to them. Carving pumpkins is people buy a pumpkin and they just take out all the fillings and they carve it into different things. Halloween parties is people have a party and they dress up and these are just some pictures.
Is this what you showed your South Korea and Ukraine?
Yes.
Great.
And then it's just spreading a lot, and then people do it. This is what the Ukraine said about Halloween.
Is this what when you were talking to your Ukraine counterparts, your other Ukraine students, was this their reaction?
Yes. This is pictures from the Ukraine. They're all in English. This is El Día de los Muertos, also known as Day of the Dead. El Día de los Muertos is celebrated in central and southern Mexico during chilly days of November 1st and 2nd. They believe that the gates of heaven are open, and at midnight on October 31st, the spirits of all deceased children are allowed to reunite with their families for 24 hours. On November 2nd, the spirits of the adults come down to enjoy the festivities and prepare for them. The history is that it's a 2-day celebration and it's divided into separate days to honor deceased youth. On November 1st, adults for the Day of the Dead. On the 2nd, it's some believe it's a 3-day holiday beginning on October 31st. All Hallows Eve, when some believe that souls of young children arise at midnight. For the Dia de los Muertos, you make altars and you put stuff that the person that passed would like. and you put a photo of them to remember them. These are just some pictures of what it is. And this is Halloween in South Korea.
Are these the people that you were speaking to?
Yes. They did it after we told them about Halloween. These are just more pictures. So they copied what we said and they made their own party for it.
Nice.
And they had this banner for the Halloween, and they had their own decorations.
How did you get in contact with the people with the school from South Korea and Ukraine?
Through Facebook.
Did you put out a message, or was there a particular Facebook group that you went through?
It was a message.
You specifically contacted them?
Yeah, we set out, for, as I mentioned in the previous two presentations, we have, again, our school account through Facebook. And we said, hey, we want to do some cultural exchange for anyone that's up for it. And they said that they were interested. They didn't know what Halloween was. We were like, oh, no, we should tell them more about it. And they were pretty interested in it. So we decided to do it with the Ukraine and with South Korea.
Fantastic. Who's speaking right now?
Oh, sorry. I went to the restroom really quickly. Sorry.
Oh, okay. So who's in this project? Amy and who else?
Amy, me, and another colleague, but she moved school, sadly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we've got, got it. So can I ask you guys some questions, or do you need to finish up your slides?
Please ask questions.
Why did you feel that this was an issue that you needed to take on?
Well, we felt like, looking at our school, it's really, I guess, fun to see, for example, a lot of people celebrate Halloween, but seeing that we have a lot of Hispanic influence in our school, we also have a Dia de los Muertos. So we were talking in discussion in our school webpage, and when we posted a few posts on Facebook about celebrating, some of the schools that saw our post, they were like, what is that for? And we thought, oh, you guys don't know about Halloween? And they were like, no. So we thought that social exchange and different cultural experiences were kind of fun. And also we wanted to learn what they did instead. And when they told us that they didn't really celebrate it, it was kind of like, oh. It really brings out, for example, again, participation and curiosity in our students.
Cool. So since this is specific to only one day out of the year and only one time period, what do you think your action plan will be moving forward?
Well, also, for example, when it comes to Thanksgiving, I think that we find it interesting to have a cultural exchange and social exchange when it comes to our dates, because here in America, we have a lot of holidays that are not really celebrated anywhere else. We have a lot of national holidays that aren't really, I guess, out there, and a lot of countries wouldn't know. And also, they have a lot of celebrations that we don't know, and festivals, and it's actually really fun. Especially if we plan on traveling. It's also kind of it kind of helps us sometimes understand, like, for example, some of us are taking world history, so it helps us do some synthesizing when it comes to our essays and homeworks.
Great. So you feel that are you planning to do, every time an American holiday comes around, you contact other schools from these countries, or are you going to stick with South Korea and Ukraine?
Well, it kind of happens that way. We make some posts, and some schools are like, what are you guys doing? And sometimes they also want to share some of their festivals and some of their experiences. So it's not only our doing, it's also us learning when it comes to our social exchanges. They also try to keep us informed and try to expose their festivals and different celebrations.
Great. Is this on your personal Facebook or is this a Facebook page from the school?
It's kind of like a personal Facebook for the class. It's under the school, I guess, but it's also kind of personal in which we have our own contacts, but it's not like we are personally putting out like our pictures and stuff. It's more like a classroom kind of Facebook.
Wonderful. Where did you find most of your research that you presented?
Well, most of our research came from their point of view, was basically through our exchange. But when it came to our research, for example, for Dia de los Muertos, I think Amy, you talked to your parents about Dia de los Muertos, right, to get more insight on it, get more cultural insight on it. We interviewed a few students that celebrated here, right? When it comes to, I think when it came to the Christian aspect of it, we also talked to our teacher, who is kind of into the religious field and history field. What else? What else did we do? I think we went on several. A lot of it came from different. We read a few articles online. What else did we do? We used what people did for Halloween, how they celebrated, and the parties.
That's fantastic. Next time when you guys cite some research for a presentation, make sure to include the source on the same page. It's really helpful.
Oh, our bibliography, right?
Yeah, the bibliography, but also on the individual slide, it's very helpful to see right then and there where that specific research came from.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. It was awesome. You guys looked like you pulled from a lot of different sources, and I think the Dia de los Muertos is really exciting because I think that's super unique to Texas, to a certain culture here and community that resides here in Texas, and so sharing that with a different cultural community is really might be really interesting.
They actually have it in Ukraine during the spring. They have a Dia de los Muertos.
But theirs is during the spring, so it was kind of different. We didn't expect that. They're planning on sharing it with us next semester.
Fantastic.
I'm curious what you found the most surprising or interesting when doing your research.
I think that what was the most surprising was that they were like, well, like for example, South Korea was like, why do you give away free candy? And it was like, yeah, why do we give away free candy? It was kind of like, it kind of made us reconsider our culture and really think about it, because they were like, we don't really see the point on why you're celebrating Halloween. They understood Dia de los Muertos as kind of like a veneration to our past ones and of course our loved ones, but they didn't understand the purpose of what Halloween was. And it's kind of interesting what we learned and how the English language was such a huge influence to what we now celebrate as Halloween.
Okay, so it kind of got you to do some self-reflection on what is Halloween really about and why are we celebrating this?
Yeah. Because like as little kids, we've always known that Halloween is Halloween. Halloween, you go out trick-or-treating, get the candy, maybe dress up. Any other questions?
I don't have any other questions. It seems like we're all done over here. Do you guys have any questions or comments for us? Anything? Any last reflections?
No. Do you have any questions, Amy? All right. Thank you for your time. We won't take it anymore. That was the last question.
No.
Another one?
No.
I can imagine.
Hello? Okay, this is vote, so team 7. This is vote.
Hi, guys. This is a very relevant issue right now. Vote.
Yes.
Yes, yes is right. How are you guys doing today?
Really good, excited. How you guys feeling today?
Excited. Cool. Well, I won't ask too many questions just yet. You guys go ahead and get started whenever you want.
Alright.
Please introduce yourself before, actually.
Hi, I'm Madison.
I'm Jason.
And I'm Chris Rodriguez. You've heard enough of me today. Voting, it was a huge issue considering our recent election. So this was, of course, this happened before. I'd like to point that out. And this is just our results after the election, the day after. So our issue, of course, was that there wasn't a lot of civic participation when it came to our school and voting. So we wanted to get students informed and more involved because, of course, this was quite the election. This was very close, and there was a lot of issues at the table that had to be addressed. Our problem was that in the past, local elections haven't had a lot of participation by our citizens, and therefore this year we wanted people to vote. Now, like one of the issues this year was that the 3 school board members were the only people who were filed. So therefore we were thinking that not only was this year's election influential, but also the school board election influential. So this was really the problem. So when it comes down, the board only approved the order to cancel the school board election for single member districts 1, 2, 4, and 6, which is uncommon and really not, it's a huge deal. Right, guys?
Yeah. Basically, like nobody ran, so therefore nobody could really get the vote, which is really bad.
Yeah, it's very, very bad. So the way that we addressed it was to try and get the people around our school informed, especially with the parents and our students that were of age to vote, trying to get them to see how was this such a huge issue. So we had a parent meeting, and we announced that we're going to hold, we were going to try to increase voter participation through a series of and trying to get people more involved by asking them a question about what
We
they
were
need.
also trying to like figure out ways to put the fact that you can vote more out there.
All right. So when it comes down to our what we were trying to do is we were trying to get more information out there in order to get people out there and start knowing more, being more participant. Yeah. So what happened was that this was when we did it at the time, this was a presentation that we gave to the parents, and that was beginning September 22nd.
So that you could still go out and register.
The registration would be open so that you can go out and vote. This was the slide that, this was the presentation that we gave the parents. And this was the link in how we controlled the voting, basically
How we got our statistics and finding out how people voted,
all
how
of the
many.
results. Yeah.
Basically just how they registered.
That was the way they registered to vote. And the way that you registered was you put in your name, your ID number, and it asks for other personal questions that we try to keep off the record, not on the presentation right now. But yeah, all the questions were to improve participation. Then we
Sorry, I have a very quick question.
please.
Is this registering to vote for school elections or a larger election?
Good morning.
Basically, the students voted for the general election.
Yeah, because we noticed that, I mean, if we have a lack of participation in our district, imagine the lack of participation that will be in the general election.
Also, if so many adults aren't voting now, you want to start getting kids involved now so that they'll want to go out and vote whenever they are to the age that they can.
So yeah, like for example, when following the elections, we saw candidate Bernie Sanders talking about how important it was for young voters to get out there and to really know what was going on, the issues that were on the table, and how important was this election this year.
Yeah.
So we told them mark the date, and November 8th was election day.
NHS members listed below: Ayana Barnfield, Laura Castro, Janice Castillo, Maribel Coronado, Clarissa Cortines, Eduardo Garcia, Elena Jaramillo, Sarah Martinez, Alexis Martinez, Jaime Mondragon, Robert Mendez, Mendoza, Rita Montoya, Edward Rojas, Brian R.
Our
Julia
results
Sanchez,
were
Brandon Sanchez, Larissa
Yeah, we could take a quick break while she's doing the announcements. It's okay.
by the end of Wednesday about your community
Sorry.
service hours.
No problem.
No worries. We can. We'll take a pause. We'll wait until she's done with announcements.
Ms. Coy.
All right. So we can pick up where we left off. Where were you guys?
All right. So as you can see, only 3,051 students participated and registered to vote, which is actually a very small amount of number considering how many students we actually have in our school. That number,
We have close to 4,000 students, which I guess we have 3,051 students, and these were our results. Only 213 students registered, which was 7% of the student population. So of course we were a little bit, I guess, down on the numbers. We felt like the numbers could have been way better considering all the advertising we put out there and how many times we encouraged people to vote. And then we started to take a closer look at our grade distribution, and that may have been a huge factor because most of our students are not in the grade level school of age to vote, and some of the people that are in the grade level to vote still were young. They had their birthday a little bit later, and weren't able to vote by like a month or so, which was unfortunate.
So do you have a percentage of students that registered to vote that were actually of age to vote?
Yes,
Power.
only 10%.
10
Oh, there we go.
Wait, no.
Age to 18 for the officers, you need to be in the age to 18 grade.
So, I have a quick question. What you sent out, was this a link to people for for a site for online voter registration, or was this something that you guys personally suggested that there be in Texas within your community?
No, it was just our own school, our own, basically,
It was
kind of experiment.
We were trying to show that it was easy to vote, that all you had to do was simply register and take a decision, and that decision was really important. We're trying to advertise it because, of course, there was the real polls and the real within our school. They were inside our school, and we were trying to advertise for people to vote because
Senior
it was
teachers, please check your
voting
email
is such an
and
important thing
students
to
on this
do
email
in
to
the
the
community.
auditorium
It
at
gets
this
you involved
time.
in the
Have a
community, and we
great
just
week,
wanted to
Cardinals.
point that out, that voting.
Yeah, we're with you about that. We definitely agree that voting is super important. I just have a question because were you pointing people to an online voter registration site here in Texas? Because currently Texas does not have online voter registration. So I'm confused if you guys are, if this is an experiment that you.
It was an experiment. We were trying to advertise and show that this would be
Even if you make it easy to where you don't have to go to like the DPS or the DMV or anything to go out and register to vote, even if we made it as simple as just logging in and giving you a link, it still would make a difference.
Yeah, and
because
that's
voting-
what a lot of people were like, wow, I mean, we should really get on top of it after, but we were hoping that this would be before. We were hoping that our voting numbers would be a lot higher.
And then a quick question: the numbers you're showing right now, is this a student like mock presidential election that you sent out?
This was our own. Like we mentioned before, this was our experiment, and it was made up of 10 different countries as we were trying to comment on to see what other students taught, because I mean we did have a discussion, I believe, with Iran.
Yeah, with
Yeah,
a few other countries and discussed basically the candidates and what we were trying to do.
and what were the main issues? Because again, we were trying to get our students and our classmates to, because we asked a few questions, and it was kind of shocking to see that some of our classmates didn't really know about the candidates or
Didn't know.
what their issues,
Yeah.
what their stands on the issues were. So we're like, oh, whoa, we should address this, especially if we have classmates that can vote
Exactly.
and get them to participate in the elections.
So what is your specific solution to help with this issue of people that just aren't getting out and voting?
So our specific solution was to, well, now that we've made people what's it called?
More aware,
Conscious and
aware
aware
and conscious
of-
of the situation.
Trying to, I mean, when people saw the numbers, they were like, wow, this really should have been different. And we came to the conclusion that that it's really sad because online is basically what we work on and what we do nowadays. And it, like what our experiment proved was that online didn't really make a difference because people still didn't vote. And I think that we were trying to make young voters more aware and of the possibilities that could have been.
Basically, we discovered that even if you make it as easy as making it online, which almost everybody has access to nowadays, especially in the US, it doesn't make that much of a difference. Even if you make it online and make it as simple as we did, not as many people nobody's really going to vote anyway.
Yeah, so our solution really was to try and make people more aware and really know their candidates and the issues that are on the table. Yeah, this is what we found after our experiment, that yes, very easy to use. Also, it's easy to vote multiple times, and it allows for people to vote quite easily again. But like I said, it's a lot of cons that shouldn't be there, that shouldn't be an issue, especially today.
Yeah. Well, these are the countries that would out that we allowed to vote and that we allowed to our survey. Wait, countries voting.
What?
Could you go back one slide? Sorry. Okay, so this wasn't school-wide voting. This was like it was school-wide voting, but then there were also other countries. They were school.
So the students from other countries also participated in your survey?
Right, and that's where we got also the back of it. It's quite easy to vote through online register voting, and it may not be a good idea, but if we were to fix all the loopholes and maybe apply a more secure system, then it would definitely be a good system to use. Now, when it comes to what we learned that It increases voting if we can vote on the same day as registration, and also online voting can be quite easy. It takes nothing more than a few minutes, really, at the most. And all we really need to do is to develop safeguards to stop voter fraud and make the loopholes tied at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Secretary Hillary Clinton and her vice president candidate.
Were you guys surprised at were you surprised at the results, or do you know how many students from your school voted were in comparison to how many students from abroad voted?
Yes, we were surprised. We had a division in between who was really going for who in this election.
Yeah.
Did you see a higher turnout? Where did you see a higher turnout? In the U.S. with your students from your school, or from abroad?
Abroad.
Abroad, really.
Which we find kind of shocking and a little bit sad too.
Yeah.
Sure. Do you know what the percentage is?
Yes, and Del Valley had around.
So abroad there was 700 people, and then in Del Valley there was only 600. So there was a good gap of 100 students from abroad that voted.
Yeah, we found it kind of sad that people from abroad were more interested in our politics,
in the future of our country,
really, than
too.
Our students.
Sure. And was there a particular, when the votes came from abroad, where did most of the votes go? Was there a theme?
Yeah, most were in favor of Secretary Hillary Clinton and her vice president.
Wow.
And
excuse me, it was mostly Del Valley, our school, and then students from Iran who voted for Hillary Clinton. The rest were
in favor of
Trump or our
president-elect
third parties.
Donald Trump. Right. Wait, did we get the third party votes?
Yes, we had Jill Stein.
Right.
Trump.
So moving forward next year, how do you think you'll be able to do this again if your end goal is to increase voter participation?
Yes.
How will you take, well, I think most of the time, I think it's great to do an international study, but specifically for this sort of theme for your project, it seems that doing, something local within your school might be better.
Well, I think that for next year, we will focus a little bit more on against the school board administration and who's being elected, because like we mentioned before at the beginning, nobody really ran, so nobody really was able to vote for anyone. So the percentage kind of stayed the same. And I think that what we should look forward to is change and look into improving every year, not just staying the same.
We also want to focus more on educating our own people, because if you pay attention to how many more people abroad voted and who they voted for, you can tell that foreigners typically know more and care more about what happens to our country than a lot of the people in our country.
Yeah, in a lot of discussions, like I mentioned, I think to Iran.
Yeah.
Iran was very well informed. They knew a lot about the issues that it was kind of hard to find like a classmate to sit down with and sometimes discuss without arguing or getting into some kind of argument, because they didn't really know or were well informed on the politicians and their beliefs.
And so did you use the school board election as an impetus to do this project? Did you see and learn that, wow, no one ran, and this is a problem that is
it's not
that is mirroring the larger issue of the fact that no one is voting, no one's participating. Why did you include the school board issue?
Well, we included the school board issue because, like we said, we gave this presentation to the parents after school, and we also gave it to our students, and we were talking about like how not only the problem with participation isn't only nationwide but also locally, and it's something that has to be addressed. It's something that has to be fixed. And I mean, it kind of, I think a lot of the adults thought that it was maybe kind of weird that it was
We were
us
talking about it and a
that
lot
were
of us
addressing it
weren't
instead of, yeah, they were like, you guys are kids. But when they kind of sat down and listened to us for a little bit, they were like, oh, something that really is an issue and something that we really have to fix and get working on. We don't want our kids to make the same mistakes we have by not improving and staying the same.
Yeah, so we're at time with questions. If you wanted to finish out your slides.
We're done.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
thank you. That was great.
I think that was the last one. Okay, so we won't take any more of your time, and we thank you so much for all of your
Thanks, guys. That was awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
patience and time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
No, thanks.
And for all.